Are you wanting a couple more good crock pot recipes? Well, I've got you some. Hey friends, my name's Susan and welcome to my home. Today I've got you 4 amazing crock pot recipes. So good, your family will truly love them. So let me get this ponytail up and let's get to making some amazing crock pot recipes. You know they're going to be good. So come on, let's get to cooking. And I am going to make a slow cooker meal that you can do as a freezer meal. We've done it and we love it. And it's going into the crock pot today. I've got a rump roast. You could also use any type of meat you want, but it seems like these do really good in it. And 2 cans of beef consomme soup. Once you get it out of the crock pot, you will need some hoagie rolls and some provolone cheese. But other than that, this is all you need, guys. So let's get it in the crock pot. I'm going to go ahead and put the roast in the bottom of the pot. I didn't ask for Angus roast. I asked for something else, and this is what they got me in my order from Walmart. And then 2 cans of beef consomme soup. Now, whenever this meat is cooking down, it'll make its own juices. But between that and this beef consomme soup, oh, you have a French dip for sure. So let me go ahead and put the lid on this, turn it on low, let it cook all day while I'm going to work. And then we'll have some goodness whenever I come home. And I got back from work today, and this is what I'm looking at. Let me get this shredded up so we can get this on a sandwich for some supper. And look at this. It is just pulling apart. Oh, it's like magic. The top did get a little bit brown because it was out of the fluid. But what I'm going to do is shred this up, leave it in the fluid for just a few minutes so it can rehydrate if it got a little bit dried out, which look how tender and juicy that looks. I don't think it got dried out at all, but I just need to go ahead and get this shredded up. It did have a little fat cap on that one side. I am not going to utilize that, but that can only make it taste even better. So let me let this soak up a little bit of juice, and then it'll be time to get it on a hoagie roll so we can have some French dip sandwiches. And here we go. Here is the French dip sandwich. I've got some provolone cheese on top, the meat in between. It is so juicy. Don't know if you can see all the juice running out from the sandwich into the plate, but that's what I'm talking about. And of course, I've got some dip and juice behind it. And this is what's for supper tonight. And it's early morning, and we are gonna make some slow cooker Cajun chicken fettuccine. I'm just going to do the first portion this morning, what I need to put into the crock pot, which I've got some chicken broth, some oregano, onion powder, garlic powder, some onion itself, some slap your mama, and some chicken breast. And that's what I'm going to do instead of the red pepper flake and paprika. I'm going to use some slap your mama because you know that's spicy and it's really, really good. Also some salt and pepper, but other than that, we're ready to get everything in the slow cooker so it can cook while we're gone to work. And I'm going to go ahead and put the frozen chicken breast into the crock pot. This is my smaller crock pot. Like I said, I'm only half in the recipe, so I've got that in. It does call for 1 cup of chicken broth. I am not going to half in that. I think I'm just going to put the whole cup in. That way it covers the whole bottom. Now for a little bit of oregano. A little bit of onion powder. And a little bit more of garlic powder, that is. There we go. I'm going to add some of the slap your mama in. And this is very spicy, so I'm not going to put too awful much because y'all know I love the spicy, but this thing can get you. And if you're enjoying this video, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? And don't forget, push that little bell so you'll be notified each time a new video goes up. Now I'm going to add basically half of a cut up onion on top, which was kind of weird, but that's what it said. So that's what I'm going to do. And of course, y'all know, if I dare you, it's the way I roll. There we go. This is going on low while I'm at work. I'm going to put it on 8 hours, and then we'll come back and see what we have. And when I come home from work, this is what everything looked like. I am going to go ahead and add some noodles, which no, surprise, surprise, I didn't use fettuccine noodles. I used penne. I've got some heavy cream and some Parmesan cheese that are going in. And Dolly is wanting some food apparently. So let's get to putting everything into the crock pot. And I'm going to go ahead and use my meat masher here to shred my chicken. If y'all haven't figured this out, I've done this quite a few times. It makes it into beautiful little pieces of chicken as long as you don't have any vegetables in here at the time or nothing that would be mushed. You can go ahead and do this. And like I said, look at all that beautifully shredded chicken in very little time. I'm going to go ahead and add in some heavy cream and some Parmesan cheese into the mix. And I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. And yes, that is Parmesan cheese. And that will melt once it gets warm, so that's not a problem. And I'm going to give it a little taste and see if it needs some more of the Slap Your Mama seasoning in it, because y'all know we like it spicy. I'm going to add just a dab more of the seasoning. Not much, because it tastes really good. Because you know, that's the way it goes. Get this stirred up, and then it'll be time to put the noodles into the crock pot. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the noodles into the mix and then give that a good stir. Look at all that chicken. It's not as thick as I would like it to be. It's more watery. Maybe I added a little bit too much chicken broth in. But I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of a slurry in to see if that'll thicken things up, and let it stay on warm and bubble just a little bit and see if it thickens. And I've tried to thicken this up just a little bit, and it is still not as thick as I would have liked it. Maybe if I let it cook just a little bit longer, it might thicken up a little bit more. I think I probably put a little bit too much bone broth in to begin with. But it still tastes amazing. Let's go ahead and get it in a bowl. And here you go. Slow cooker Cajun chicken fettuccine, which I've made into penne. And it's what's for supper tonight. And it's early in the morning. And I'm going to make some Crockpot Philly cheesesteak. And I'm halvening the recipe because I don't need 2 pounds of meat. I've only got about 1 pound of meat. I've got some beef bouillon, some onion, half a green pepper, half a bell pepper, salt, onion powder, Worcestershire, Italian seasoning, salt and pepper, and my beef shaved steak, which is going in the crock pot. So let's get everything put in the crock pot so we can cook on low all day, and I can come home and make me some Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. And the first thing going in is the beef shaved steak, and I'm going to add the beef bouillon to the top of that. And I'm going to separate this meat up just a little bit so it can get into the beef bouillon. I know while it cooks, it's going to produce a little bit more juice, especially whenever I put on the bell peppers and the onion. This is half an onion chopped up. I'm going to add in a little bit of onion powder. I'm going to add in a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of Italian seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, into it. And I also need to add a little bit of water. And Worcestershire sauce is the last thing going in. I'm going to give this a good mix around. It's smelling good already. That's really awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on, and then we'll come back after I get off work and see what we've got. And when I came home, this is what I came home to. Now I am gonna stir this around just a little bit. And look at all the juice it made, guys. You know, I was worried I wasn't going to have enough juice in here. But yeah, it's done its job. Now, we need to go ahead and get this on a sandwich, so we can have us an amazing Philly cheesesteak. And here we go. Philly cheesesteak. I like mayonnaise on both sides and provolone on both sides. Put that hot meat on there and let some of those juices soak in. But this is what's for supper tonight. We're about to start a meal in the Crockpot. Crockpot Chicken Pot Pie. I'm just doing half the recipe. Didn't think we needed all of it. I've got a couple of biscuits out of a can of Grand's biscuits that I had left over. I'm going to go ahead and use them with this recipe. I got some minced garlic, sour cream, can of cream of chicken soup, a can of mixed vegetables. I've got my chicken spice, salt and pepper, onion powder, thyme, rosemary, and 2 big old frozen chicken breasts. So let's go ahead and get all of this into our little crock pot. The first thing we're going to add in is, of course, the chicken breasts. They go in the very bottom. Oh, and I forgot to lay out some chicken broth, some bone broth. So I'm just going to be using some regular broth. I forgot to put that in the lineup too. I'll show you here in a minute. I'm going to put in some minced garlic. Like I said, I'm just halving in this recipe. The mixed vegetables are going in next. A little bit of onion powder. A little bit of rosemary and thyme. Now the thing that makes it really good, my homemade chicken spice. Get some of that in there. I'm going to go ahead and add in the chicken broth that I just made up and the cream of chicken soup. Now I am going to go ahead and try to get this dispersed a little bit. Because whenever that chicken does cook, of course it's frozen, it will produce some fluid on its own. So that will take care of that. And a little bit of salt and pepper. Because that chicken broth does have quite a bit of sodium in it. So I've got everything in. All we've got to do is set this on low for 8 hours. And then when we come back, we'll be ready to pull some chicken, and then we'll bake the biscuits, and we'll have some Crockpot Chicken Pot Pie. So let's get to putting this on. And I came home from work, and this is what I found. I'm going to pull the chicken out and shred it up, and I'm going to get some biscuits cooked. I'm going to put mine in the air fryer, but you can do the oven if you want to, and then we'll be ready to have some Crockpot Chicken Pot Pie. 5 minutes later on 350, and we have nicely brown biscuits. So let's get this chicken pot pie put together. And when I opened them up, they weren't quite done in the middle as much as I'd liked them, so I opened them up and then put them back in the air fryer. Now, these biscuits are looking good. Let's get it put together. Now we've got some good flaky biscuits. If you wanted to put this in a bowl, you could. I know Danny is not a big bowl person. I'm just going to go ahead and put over the chicken pot pie mixture over top of the biscuit. You could just do the chicken pot pie and put the mixture in a bowl and eat it. But I figure this is going to be the best way to get everything ate. And it smells amazing. And here you go, Crockpot Chicken Pot Pie. And it's what's for supper tonight. Easy Crockpot recipes are always a winner in my book. Y'all know it. And if you haven't already, press that little button down below and subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming good food and fun. And ring that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I put up each new video. Lots more great recipes to come. Until next week, see you then.